Hey everybody, Sam here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the next part of building my workshop here on our new property. In this video, I'm going to be building the door. If you've not seen any videos leading up to this, there's a link to the playlist down below that'll show you everything from the start, and that same link will take you to see everything from here forward to the end of the build. To start off this, I went ahead and cleaned up any kind of jagged bits of siding and made sure the opening from our doorway is perfectly clean and ready to start framing up. I also took the offcut for the siding. It is outside laying on the sawhorses. I will be using that as the outside skin of the door, but my first step I want to do is cut some framing members and drag one of the extra sheets of OSB outside and put this thing all together. I'm going to frame my door to be a little bit narrower and shorter than the actual rough opening. That way I have plenty of room to mount it square, plumb, and still be able to open it and close it. So the total dimensions of this door are going to be 43 inches wide and 80 inches tall. I'm ready to go ahead and assemble the door. I have the OSB panel on the bottom. That's going to be the skin that faces the inside of the workshop. And then I have my 2x4 framing members laid here on top, which they're going to go in the middle. You're going to notice that I'm going to attach these flat. And the strength with this kind of door does not come from the joinery of the 2x4s with each other. The strength of this door is the fact that it is one skin of OSB, a framing member to hold things together a little bit, and then another skin of plywood. A door such as this is exactly what I built in my current workshop, which is about 6 years old at this point. There has been zero sagging, zero warping, zero bending, and zero problems with it. I've even added a window AC to one of the doors, framed just like this, and it still works great. So I can confidently tell you that this style door will be perfectly strong, very stiff, won't sag, and won't warp. So I'm going to be assembling this thing from the bottom up. That way I can see everything and make sure it's square. I'm going to be using some 1 3/4 screws to attach it. And we'll just go ahead and jump in and start attaching the OSB to the 2x4s. Once this is done, we'll plop on the finished siding and then we'll put it up into place. I'm using the factory edge of the OSB as my square and reference point for this first corner. And I'm going to hold this together and drive the first screw into the 2x4. I'm going to move down and work on the edge and put more screws into it. Make sure I stay flush all the way down to the end. Now that I'm done sandwiching and making my door slab, I'm going to use my jigsaw and trim off all of the extra siding that overhangs the door and give myself a nice square door slab to then fit into place. I'm ready to go ahead and put the door into place. I have 2 carpenter pencils laying down there on the floor of the workshop. They are going to act as little spacers to make sure the door is up off of the floor. But basically, I'm going to hold it up into place, get it as good as we can get it, and then I'm going to temporarily attach it with the hinges and screws, because I need to actually put the trim on until it's completely 100% done. But for now, the name of the game is just get the door mounted and secure it up again. Made it too tight. There's the door temporarily mounted up and secure with our little scrap block latch lock thing. It is not the end of the story, but it is the end of the story for today. I'm going to start off a little bit of work today, doing some random things out here at the workshop. What I'm going to start with is going ahead and taking down my diagonal bracing that's inside the building. I don't believe we need it anymore, so we'll go get the pry bar and pull these things off and salvage them. That wasn't too bad. The pry bar makes quick work of getting the boards off. I was able to save them, and now all I have to do is just remove the nails, but that's no big deal. It is nice to have the walls liberated of their cross or diagonal bracing. Now I just need to repeat the same process behind you guys. I've stacked all of the extra T111 siding and 7/16 OSB sheathing down on that end short wall. So I'm not going to pry those boards off. The diagonal boards can just stay there for now. I will, however, get the one on the left and the right, or right and left, however you're looking at it, and at least get those out of the way. With the diagonal boards off the wall as much as I can get right now, I'm going to change gears and I'm going to put together a metal storage shelf that we brought over from our house. We'll put it together right here behind me, and that way I can have a place to start putting a lot of the stuff that is really beginning to accumulate here inside of the workshop. There we go, and we have a shelf in place. So now a cool place to put the tools and stuff, and otherwise just try and make a more organized space out of this mess. Well, as you can tell, we are in a little bit different surroundings. We're back here in North Carolina in my current workshop, the one that's, well, honestly being packed up and looking pretty weird and sparse. But I wanted to at least shoot my outro here because I didn't do it out there on our property. I had the full intention of, you know, for that last clip, getting my stuff together, pulling Angela beside me and saying, hey, let's do our outro. But we got busy, had to hit the road to go home, and it just didn't happen. So we're doing it now. All right, let's talk about that shed door build. I don't know if anyone out there has ever seen this. I don't know if this is something that's kind of unique with me or where I first saw it, but I guarantee you guys that is the best way to build a shed door of this style. You know, not as pretty per se, but honestly, you get to reuse your siding. You have to use a sheet of OSB for the inside, and then a couple of 2x4s, but you're done. It is really, really rock solid. It is stable. In my experience, they don't warp, they don't twist or flex, and they are just really, really strong. If you think about it, essentially what I built was a really beefed up, strong, hollow core door. Exactly what you would see in a home or see in home renovation stores or home improvement stores. You've got your skeleton inside, 2 panels that sandwich it, and then the core, the inside, is mostly hollow. The same principle that applies with home doors applies in this instance, and just being thicker, heavier materials means that one, that door is really heavy. It's surprisingly heavy. But then two, you still are left with a strong, rigid door that is stable for long term. It seems every step of the way, I always get some people who ask about insulation. We have got some very energy efficient, conscious-minded viewers out there. Every step of the way, you're asking about insulation and this and that, about thermal properties. So I'm sure you're probably wondering, why didn't I insulate the door? I pretty much did. By enclosing the door and creating a dead airspace, it is insulated of sorts. The benefit of fiberglass insulation or batch fill insulation you normally put in your wall cavities is that it allows dead air space. This is kind of doing the same thing. It is not 100% dead air space, of course, because I didn't glue it, which, you know, you could totally glue it and get that. But in my experience, again, with my workshop here, I don't have any kind of heat loss that is perceivable through the door itself. Usually heat loss in workshops or shed structures are from air leaks or air gaps, the trim around your door, your windows, your rafters, soffits, everything of the sort. Any place where air can get in is usually the #1 problem spots in structures such as this. So the door is obviously not done, but it is mounted good enough for now because the next step is actually going to be to paint the exterior of the workshop. The T111 is raw wood, so it has to have some level of protection applied. We could have stained it, or we could paint it. We are choosing to paint it to match Angela's soap shed. Kind of an off-white color with a gray trim scheme. It'll look pretty good in the end. So in that sense, the door is done for now. There's no point in trimming it out to then try and cut in and paint what the trim will cover. Inside the workshop, things are looking a lot better than they were now that I have that shelf assembled. That's actually one that I want to say we originally bought for our kitchen / dining room renovation. I think it used to hold soap supplies. I'm not sure. It lived its life somewhere else. Came down into my workshop storage area, and then I saw it when I was cleaning up and decided, hey, you're going to Tennessee with me. It's really handy. It is great to have at least that much of a storage and organization structure in place to put the tools and material and hardware and stuff that is starting to accumulate over there in a dedicated space to free up the floor space and allow me to still move around and work around within the building. If you watch my workshop channel, you'll have seen where I talk about how I am packing up my workshop and using a specific style box to do that. That metal shelf that's in my new shop is instrumental and going to be great for when those boxes actually move over to the new shop as well. It is not a long-term storage solution, but it is my interim hopscotch, we're here for now, solution that'll be good. It'll maximize our investment, not use up a lot of money to begin with, and still work out pretty good in the long run. Like I said, there's another video on my workshop channel if you want to dive into the head of Sam with his workshop and thoughts around boxes, but for now, just suffice to say that the shelf works great, I like it, and it'll be pretty good moving forward too. Let's talk about what's coming up next for the videos on the workshop build series. Next up is a little bit of backpedaling, and listen, are you ready for this? Sam will be installing his Z-flashing on his siding. That's right. All of you out there who reminded me or told me or commanded to me that you forgot your flashing, you're a dummy. You'll be happy to see that I fixed that in the next video. I truly blanked out on doing the Z-flashing. I explain more about that in the next video, so I won't talk about it here again. Just know that next video, Z-flashing and painting the exterior of the workshop. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them for me down below. Otherwise, take care, and we'll see you guys next time on the homestead. And that same video link will take you to the rest of the build video. The rough opening of the door is a little bit, no wait, let's just not, I don't know the numbers, so I won't say them. And that same video and that same playlist link will take you everywhere. There is the door temporarily mounted and secured in place with our wooden walk. And that same video link, playlist link.
Okay.
Alright, press the star now.
Okay.
Good? So we got the star, and regardless if I shield my face, we're still exposed, right?
Yep.
Okay. To start off this, I went ahead and cleaned up any kind of jagged